For years, the One Piece community has memed on Buggy, said that he is one of the strongest entities in the entirety of the series. But to think that someone can fall so far upwards, like Buggy defies all common sense. Just looking at this chapter of One Piece and just seeing the fact that Buggy is now an emperor is so unbelievably funny, especially with him having Mihawk and Crocodile underneath him. That is, how does that even happen? How does that even happen? I'm literally just stunned. When I was reading this chapter and I opened up to this page, I couldn't believe what I was reading, because for one, we all know, Buggy may have a unique devil fruit ability. He may be, kind of strong to a certain degree. But overall, he's definitely no Crocodile. He's definitely no Mihawk. He's definitely not capable of bringing those two individual figures down. But the fact, though, is that we know these two figures, like Crocodile and Mihawk, they probably joined with Buggy just for their own sake, just to be left alone. Because obviously they were a part of the Warlords, and, with everything that's been happening within the One Piece verse, obviously they are probably just seeking to do their own thing. And Crocodile, as a character, it makes sense for him to join Buggy, because Crocodile wants to be in the shadows, do his own thing, and he definitely knows that Buggy isn't, the smartest individual, so because of that, he can definitely use Buggy for his own gain, basically manipulating an emperor behind the scenes. While Mihawk is just someone that's just just leave me alone, and just attaches his name because that's just how it is. And, I mean, if we're seeing, for instance, Crocodile and Mihawk a part of Buggy's crew, it's very clear that maybe Boa and other, warlords are potentially a part of this entire operation of Cross Guild because of just what this chapter kind of hints at. So let's talk about this. So the big energy, the big balls that Buggy has. This man legitimately is putting bounties on Marines, Navy soldiers, and that's it's actually funny, and it makes so much sense, because it's why didn't other Yonkos really do this? It makes sense, actually, for them to do that, but Buggy is you know what, guys? We're a big operation. We got big names under us and all that. The times are changing. We have new emperors leading, for instance, Buggy. So it's why don't we put bounties on the Marines? And when I think about this, I'm actually curious on what the bounties are for some of the Marines. Imagine Garp. Imagine what Garp's bounty would probably be, because obviously Buggy would know the strength of Garp. He was on Roger's crew. He traveled with Shanks. He knows how Garp is. So I wonder what Garp's bounty would be if, Buggy is actually in charge of that, or if it's someone else. I could definitely see maybe that being a part of Crocodile's entire crew. When you think about Crocodile, he's definitely someone that would probably want to do bounty systems and stuff, since it's that kind of fits his operation. But I could be wrong there. But the point is, I think it's just hilarious that there is now bounties being put on Marines, and Buggy is trying to say, you know what, Navy, you're not safe anymore as well. He literally did a Uno reverse card. Yeah, Buggy somehow always manages to, like I said, fall upward. This man is always having so much success by being basically a blundering idiot. But at the same time, Buggy is definitely not a no-name pirate. When we consider his feats and what he's done throughout the series of One Piece, he had a close encounter with Luffy at the beginning of the story, which now we know where Luffy's at within the story. He almost technically executed Luffy in the beginning of the story, but thanks to a stroke of luck and Luffy's father coming in, Luffy didn't get killed, to, Buggy also, getting captured and impelled down, and eventually, escaping and having a bunch of individuals, major criminals, escaping with him, him becoming a warlord, to also him basically now becoming an emperor, and now all this, being a part of Roger's crew, associated with Shanks, being at the Whitebeard War. There's just so many things, and it's just hilarious that, yes, Buggy is a fool. Yes, he's a clown. But the fact that he's basically been on every single moment that's very big for the One Piece story and survived to tell the tale, and has somehow managed to always make that his success, it's amazing. It really is amazing. He actually has kind of in its own way the same thing that Luffy does, charisma. Because if there's always something that's mentioned, like characters like to mention, in One Piece is that Luffy has this charisma to be able to draw people around him, to continuously allow people to want to join his crew, or rally people against whatever organization or whatever in each individual island. But when you look at Buggy, he has something very similar, obviously. Yes, he has, that idiocy that he has, of like Luffy does, but Buggy uses that to his advantage, and he also has that charisma to just make random people believe in him and follow him as well, like, for instance, the prisoners of Impel Down. Just, amazing. I know people might not like this overall reveal with Buggy, with what happened, but I actually think that this is just great. I love seeing a character that was basically like the first villain of One Piece make it this far within the story, and pretty much progressing to the same level as Luffy is, by accident at that. Like, literally by accident. That's what makes it so great. But okay, let's talk about a few things. So one of the big things that this chapter obviously does, besides, the Buggy ordeal, is sets us up with, we're leaving Wano. Wano is done. It's over. And we're finally going to be venturing on to the final arc of One Piece, which is just, it's still weird to be saying. It's going to take me a while to really kind of grasp those words, because it's like, when you think of end and One Piece in the same sentence, it's just like, that feels like maybe decades down the road, but we know that according to Oda, he wants to end it in like 4 years' time, which that's really not that long from now. Now, obviously, Oda has said certain things in the past with how long he wants it to be, etc., but I do think that with just everything going on with the story and what's happened in Wano to what's happening in this chapter and everything, it definitely, you can see the end in sight. It's there. And, I mean, I think that this is a really good conclusion to Wano overall, and we're kind of setting up for the next big journey to, Laugh Tale, which I guess, let's talk about that. I like how Kid returns the favor to Luffy in the chapter about the road poneglyphs, because, I mean, obviously this was a joined effort. I mean, Kid, Law, Luffy, everybody, the samurai, everyone trying to take down one of the biggest entities in One Piece, and after working so hard together, obviously they would share the spoils with each other, and the road poneglyph is definitely one of those. So I really like seeing how Kid returned that favor back to, let's say, Luffy, Law, and all of them about, information with the burned scar man, to just different things about poneglyphs or how to reach Laugh Tale, stuff like that I really like. And obviously this might be the last time we see these characters actually together until probably the end of One Piece, or little status updates after end of little mini arcs, because they're finally going on their separate way. And it's been a long time. Like, when we really think about Wano, when we think about just like the arcs prior, these characters have been together, and seeing them separate, it's a crazy feeling. It really is. I guess it might be that same feeling that people felt when they might have been reading Alabasta in the manga many, many years ago, when Vivi was, with the crew. Just seeing people just, having to split off. Which, speaking of people leaving the crew, we need to talk about, Yamato. So Yamato makes a declaration, as you can see on the screen, about wanting to, live as Kozuki Oden and go to talk with Luffy. Now, I think we all know what this pretty much means. She wants to join the crew. Now, obviously, anything can happen. There can be twists, there can be turns. Luffy might say no, but Luffy might say yeah. Maybe, Yamato makes a change of heart and is like, nah, I want to actually stay and help out Momo. There's a lot of things that you can take from these words. It's very vague, but I really do think that most likely Yamato will probably join. Now, speaking of joining the crew, I want to talk about Carrot for a second, since she's also in this exact same chapter. We see Carrot, get told that she's the new leader of the Mink Tribe and all of that, and I think that it makes sense from a writing perspective, but I am still very sad how, in my personal opinion, I felt Carrot was shafted in this arc. Like, yes, she went through a lot of development, and yes, we have seen good panels of her, but I felt like just the way Oda was setting up her character throughout all these previous arcs, that she was definitely going to be probably in Yamato's place. But the fact that we have this moment and get to see, Inu and Neko talk with Carrot basically implies that that's not going to happen. She's not going to join, and she's definitely going to, be leading the Mink Tribe, which, once again, I think is good from a writing perspective, because it's like carrying on the will of Pedro and everything that happened, and I think that just being able to do that it sends a really good message with her character. But it's just sad. This also might be one of the last times we actually see her character for a good long while at that. But, yeah, anyways, so one big thing, too, is that, this chapter also kind of sets up the Burn Scar Man. Now, the way this is obviously implied with this final segment is that it's something to do with the Void Century, it's something to do with the Will of D, etc., because we see Law and Robin act very, mysterious, or, they have question mark, like, what's going on, or whatever, and it implies that this individual might be either someone that we might have already met, and we just are unaware of it, because Oda has thrown those curveballs before, or it's just someone that maybe only Robin and Law would kind of know about, since they know a little bit about, the Void Century, stuff like that. But, I think, though, when it comes to the Burn Scar Man, it could also be Luffy. I mean, when we think about everything with what the story has presented, obviously, I probably am wrong about this, but with what's happened with, the new stuff with Luffy, to just, like, finding out about, just everything with, it's just, like, there's been so much, honestly, with the story of One Piece. It's entirely possible the Burn Scar Man could be Luffy, since Luffy's touched by fire. I mean, he was burnt by, Akainu, his devil fruit, etc. Just everything kind of falls into place. And the reason why Kid might not, be aware of that is because obviously he wasn't literally right there when Luffy was straight up fighting. And, he might not be aware of all that talk and myth around it, but obviously someone like Robin and Law would. Food for thought there. But, yeah, overall, this chapter is really, really good. I mean, artwork-wise, always, Oda does great artwork. I mean, backgrounds, etc. There's nothing ever to really complain about. Oh, yeah, I wanted to mention one thing before I wrap up the video. I love getting to see Katakuri and Oven here for this cover page. As we know, Oda always does this. He always does this type of stuff with, like, different covers showcasing, like, different events or little storylines. And I've been loving this little storyline with, Katakuri and all that, or, going on at Whole Cake Island. And I'm glad to see, a little bit of an update on Katakuri. I hope we get to see more of him in the future, especially since everything that's happened. But, yeah, I guess that's about it. It's a good chapter, as always. And remember, everybody, next weekend, all the chapters are on break, because it's going to be a holiday for Japan, so the entire magazine's on break. So, no One Piece, no My Hero, no Black Clover, etc. So, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a wait because of that. But anyways, guys, be safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much for watching, and leave me a like if you enjoyed the video. But with that, Chibi out.